Good morning, everyone. Treasure Troller here with the recap of Alone, Season 11, Episode 9. I'm not sure how much this one's going to be about the individuals as it is maybe a little bit about Alone. We'll have to see. So we did get a tap out. Sarah taps out. I mean, when you start out with one of your first clips of the show talking about how I'm not going to tap out, well, you're tapping out. When you say you're not going to tap out, you're tapping out. And then she promised her husband, which to me would have given her an orphan factor of 12 if she would have said in her beginning interview that, and I told my husband that I would tap out a day before things got really bad. That means you're tapping out. You're eventually tapping out. So if she would have gotten an orphan factor of about 12 and kind of setting yourself up for tapping out. I did listen to the podcast, and she had said the 3 grouse that she got was the only protein she'd had the whole time. She told this to Callie. We didn't say anything bad about Callie. Callie is our gal. Let's just get that out there right now. So she's gone. It brings us to, let's just say Timba. I don't want to talk about Timba. He's just doing too good. Everything's going his way at the moment. I think he's a little bit more I think he's limiting his food a little too much. I think he needs to be eating more. Forget about this food storage thing. I don't know why he talks about that, the moose meat being tough or is getting kind of tired of jaws. I don't know why you don't cut up a few pieces, have some water going, throw about a pound of it into the kettle, kind of warm it up and soften it up a little bit and have a little moose stew. I think the dude should be eating about 3 pounds a day. I don't know why he's thinking he needs to conserve food. So my only thing is, I thought it was kind of interesting when he was talking about who else he thought was in the competition. He mentioned William and Dub. So I think he had a pretty fair assessment of who the top competitors were. And he's talking about winning the game, not compete, who's there to win. William's there to win, Dub's there to win. So we got really the 3 people that really want to win it are the last contestants, which, so I don't forget, kind of gets back to, I guess, my theory of Alone, and that is you're in it to win, and they need to have, as much as Callie doesn't like it, and I guess it's okay to have a differing opinion than Callie. Callie's not wrong on this, so we're not betraying Callie on this. But she talks about like these, robot survivalist kind of thing. But that's really what's left right now. That's what's out there. Are the people that spend their time kind of living like this. Or have had William has had some, I guess, a lot of experience, at least fishing and using his, on the podcast, they call it the Grouse Wrangler 3000. He pulled that out again last Thursday. So, and he's going to start, we'll see how he does with the trapping. So I think he's got those skills, and it's just making adequate shelter. They're not spending their time rounding up grubs. I guess the only thing I'm going to say about Timba, I mean, he catches the fish on a moose bone, which was really impressive. And but he's lost a lot of fishing hooks. I think they started with 25. He's down to about 4. That could be a problem. But when you got about 500 pounds of moose meat stored away, how much of that is still any good is who knows. But losing 20 hooks is pretty significant. And we get to William. I think William goes from okay to critical on a daily basis. And before I forget again, he was complaining about getting the papoose beaver. And I couldn't understand why he would be upset about actually getting food. But it's because they have a license to only get one. So he got his one. He can't grab beaver anymore. So that was his one and only. I don't know how many times he's got to get bitch slapped by Sassy before he decides to get serious about storing that food. He keeps feeding the world, and it's going to come back in the end to probably haunt him. So hope he works that out. I'd like to see him stick around for a while. Then we get to Dub. Dub, our favorite. Dub is going to win. I thought it was a little interesting with Dub about his sort of insider view of, getting sick. I didn't really define what he was doing as a vagina monologue about feeling ill. I think it was more along the lines of maybe he was a non-believer before, and then I can understand why some people, mere mortals, people that weren't here to win, would want to tap out because it's no fun getting sick. And I didn't have any fun getting sick. So I can understand why mere mortals would want to tap out. So I took it that way. I didn't take it as him getting ready to tap. The glasses, I think they should sell those. I think Alone should sell those frames. Not necessarily with the willow, but like a fake wood frame. And maybe he should get in. I don't know what they have anymore. What are those? I can't think of what those optical stores are, but they should have the Alone series of glasses, and they look like they're wood frames, and they should sell those. I think for Halloween, I think they should have a Cubby Kebab costume where you walk around, it looks like you got an arrow in your leg. I think that would make a nice gift. Or a nice costume. So I think that's about it on the contestants. As far as the show goes, And I guess it ties, somebody had asked me if I thought they gave the women's maybe a better spot, a better territory to try to survive in than the men. I think Sarah would probably disagree with that. Now this season has been, I guess this is to me where maybe Alone is veering off a little bit. I think they want, because I've read their, I get a newsletter. It almost looks like it's the same one, but they talk about the contestants. They talk about the sort of the interview process, and they want people, sometimes it's not if you can start a fire with the ferro rod. It's sort of the process you go through to start a fire with the ferro rod. Are you keeping track of it? How safe are you in doing things? How conscious are you of safety? So there's a lot of that. And of course, there's always the backstory. I think this year for the producers, I'd have to think with 6 people going out within like 3 weeks, it had to be a little bit disappointing. But I think with the watering down of the contestants to unfortunately get a larger mix of homesteaders and weekend aloners and people like Dub, to get a mixture of that, I think they need to find places where food isn't so difficult to get. It's difficult to get, but it's not impossible to get. There's been too many seasons where there has been a complete lack of food. This season hasn't been that way. You know, even Isaiah talked about during his interview that he was, although he was building his McShelter, he was still getting fish. So I think they're trying to get areas where there's a little bit more food to maybe level the playing field out in that respect. Not necessarily giving people, I mean, some areas are going to be better for one thing, fishing, where another one might be better for small game. That's just the luck of the draw when they pick out which area they want. But I do think they're going for areas that in general have a much greater food source than they have in the past. So they can get more interesting people in the show that aren't exactly, you know, survivalists. So that's my take on, I guess, that question about making it easier. I think getting food might be a little bit easier than it has been in the past. So what's coming up? Well, we saw William get a fish. So he's out there on the ice. Somebody had said something about, you know, it's the river doesn't freeze over. I fish a lot of times on the PM River, ice fishing. Mostly like little inlets that were off the main flow. So to me, it's possible that some of that ice is going to be pretty gnarly to walk on. Other parts of it, maybe not so bad. So I think it's possible to ice fish on there. Obviously, Bill caught William caught a fish. So it is possible. We'll see how the small game kicks up. We've had a few seasons where there's been people getting 2 and 3 rabbits. So maybe the small game picks up. And of course, Sassy, I think Sassy's probably the only one that's actually gained weight during this season of Alone. Sassy's probably put on about 4 or 5 pounds. So you can thank William for that. So that's about it on this one. Other than Kelly, I'm here for to be a guest on your show. Be more than happy to come on the official podcast of Alone. And that's about it. So with that, this is Treasure Stroller saying aloha and good day.